You can lose that belly fat and you can build lean, fierce muscles at any age. Okay, I have to put this in because I always, of course, every coach has a weak spot. And of course, Oshone knows my weak spot is...
Welcome to the Fierce and Fit Mentor Podcast. I'm your host, Clarice Yau, a holistic health coach dedicated to helping women over 40 achieve their fittest, fiercest selves. Each week, we'll dive deep into the unique challenges of menopause, including belly fat, weight gain, muscle building, hormonal imbalances, and more. These episodes are recorded live from my free Facebook group, Fierce Women Sculpting Powerful Bodies and Champion Mindsets. Be sure to check the link in the show notes to join our incredible community and access free content, challenges, and resources designed just for you. I'm still going live from my profile, but we're going to bring in our interviewer and I'm going to be the interviewee. So this will be actually really, really fun. I'm really looking forward to it. This is a live for the Fierce Women Community Sculpting Powerful Bodies and Champion Mindsets. We just launched a brand new community. So if you're not in that new community, make sure that you grab our link at the end because we have a lot of amazing, exciting things coming down the line for that.
So I'll let you take it away, Oshone.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone who's here joining us today, and I hope you guys really stay till the end because she has a lot to share, and with the questions I'll be asking her anyways, and it's a chance to really get to hear her not only share some things about herself, but the method behind the madness. And when I say the madness, in terms of she's just very driven, and of course creating the community, what she's built now as well too. So we'll take it away. I'll start first with the intro. So, if you guys are here watching us on Instagram, so welcome to the Fierce Women community where we sculpt powerful bodies and champion mindsets. All right. And so we are in a brand new Fierce Women community hub. So which is part of the reason why we're doing this live today, because we want to share the exciting things coming and share more about that. So this Fierce Women community is a premier space for women over 40, where we want to create a safe space for women to feel seen, heard, and just to be able to share their struggles, be helped in a holistic way as well too. Before we're going to dive into the questions, because I know you're all eagerly waiting for those questions and to hear Clarice speak, I'll do a quick introduction. Clarice is the founder of the Fierce Women community. Today, we also want to talk about the launch of this new community as well too, which is not on Facebook, like I mentioned. It's a brand new platform that offers a lot more that she's going to share with you. One thing that I really admire the most about Clarice, and it shows even with her building this new community as well too, is her resilience, her drive, and very results focused as well too. There's nothing that she can't do, from basically nothing, and it carries through too with all the ladies that she's coached and worked with, meaning that whenever there is, because every woman is unique in terms of what they're struggling with when it comes to belly fat or building muscles or just even understanding your hormones. And Clarice is definitely one person that would find a solution, find a way. She's really resourceful. You may see her every time here. I don't even know how she does it, looking so pretty and like put together, but you might not know she maybe hasn't slept for the last 48 hours because she's been working tirelessly.
That's the secret you're not supposed to tell people. Okay, I have to put this in because I always, of course, every coach has a weak spot. And of course, Oshone knows my weak spot is
sleep. And maybe not 48 hours. Okay,
I work.
Yeah, that's a bit of an exaggeration. Maybe not 48 hours, but meaning like she gets little sleep sometimes in terms of just trying to build what she had, the community, serve her clients, serve the ladies, prepare for the lives that, we all get to enjoy and take in on Wednesdays. So those are things I really appreciate about her, is just her drive, and she shows up no matter what, no matter what's going through her life. And this past couple months have been, difficult for her with her parents and whatnot, but she still shows up and she's still dedicated time to build this community. Long hours in the hospital with her mom, still working away, and nothing really gets in her way. So she's really inspired in that way. And so I will get right into the questions.
Thank you, Oshone. Yeah, I appreciate you.
Yeah, awesome. So we'll get right into the questions here. And so over the last, we're going to start off with something fun first, break the ice a little bit. The last couple of months you've been traveling, visit a lot of places. So what's one of the favorite places that you visited so far and across your travels, and why? If you can just share that with us.
So yes, this question, I'm like, I travel to a lot of places and all of them are so unique, right? Every culture, I mean, you learn so much about people and the different languages and everything, right? And this is like a bit of a hard question because like if I had to say like the beauty of, let's say, like the environment and like the scenery when I was in Greece, of course, like Santorini, the white buildings, the blue domes, the Aegean Sea, like it's like one of my dreams on my dream board was always to visit Greece. And so I think
Mm,
that was gorgeous. Like it still is, and I have so many pictures from there. But if I had to say like truly like for me in terms of people, because I love people. If you guys get to know me, I love people. I love warmth. I love that welcoming, that love, that hospitality. So those of you who know me very well know I keep returning to Mexico because I love that type of warm culture. And I do have to say my favorite place is Oaxaca. I know I went there for quite a while because it's one of the most culturally rich places in
mhm.
Mexico. It's so colorful everywhere. If you know me, well, Oshoni does. I love color. I like bright colors. I'm not so attracted to like just like square, black, gray things. I like color. So like Mexico has so much color. There all their little decorations hanging, and their culture is so warm everywhere you go. Everyone is so kind, and I feel like it's my second home. So, one day I may be living there. Just saying. Yes.
uh, no, that's awesome. And plus the warm weather, and it really matches with who you are, true to who you are, being that fun person and bright person, like you said. And we always make a
And
joke.
yes,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and of course, can't forget I love Latin dancing. So
Yeah.
everywhere I went in the streets, like it was like on Saturday, these people are playing in the streets, and suddenly I'm dancing salsa in the middle of the streets. It's like amazing. So
Yeah, it's the dream life, right? Best of both worlds, fitness and warm weather, and of course dancing as well too. And I was just going to make a joke that Clarice always, I mean, we not pick on each other, but like I'm wearing black now. She's like, I don't like black, but
well, today I'm wearing white, but I have color in my hair. I
I
like
know.
color.
Yeah, yeah. So that is really interesting. So that's super awesome. And of course, I mean, you've already shared your love for dance. So when you're not in the community, what do you do for fun, or what do you love to do for relaxation? Take it away.
I feel like this question is like everybody knows because if they follow my profile, my two biggest passions in love is dance and fitness, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if people know, but like I love both a lot, but they're like for different purposes. Like if I have a lot of time, I think Oshona, I'll spend a lot of time in the gym. I love the gym. I love to spend multiple hours if I can doing different things and yes, anytime stretching, doing hit stuff, doing the stairs, doing Olympic lifting, and then going to do powerlifting, and then going to do bodybuilding. Like,
Yeah.
it's like if I had the time, I would spend a lot of time in the gym. I find that my sanctuary in many ways, and have the
Mhm.
music in or listening to motivational podcasts, or I love learning, so I'm always listening to something when I work out. But it is my like de-stress zone. Fitness for me is like, yes, the sanctuary, and also like kind of like it represents discipline to me, right?
Mhm.
But dance, on the other hand, which is my other huge passion, is like my soul. It's like,
Mhm.
I don't know, like when I dance, I'm just so happy. Like it's like my happiest place, you know?
Yeah.
So I would say the gym is like sanctuary for quiet, for bringing back my energy. But dance is like
Mhm.
the soul, the deeper part of me, the expression. So I find that those are the two things that I spend the most time on. But, on the side of those things, I like learning a lot. So I like reading books and listening to podcasts a lot on every subject of life, mindset, a lot of mindset, leadership, business, spirituality. I love growing in all areas, and I find everything so interesting. Like I love
Mhm.
learning and growing my mind. So yeah.
Yeah, that's such a very strong quality and trait as well too, that you can, like, you're always going to be learning till you're, till your last day basically, and you
Yes.
embody that so well. And I like how you mentioned, the gym being your sanctuary and then dance being your soul. It's almost like this, I don't want to say juxtaposition of things, but it's like your heart here and here you're so fluid and so, your body moves like water, and
Those
typically people that
bachata
are,
moves.
yeah, gym people are always like, stiff, like they say, right? Well, that's what
I
people
have to
say.
share with the audience because when Oshone used to live in the same city as me, when we had the angel retreats, we went out to dance for this. Do you remember the salsa
Yes.
dance? And I led Oshone in the bachata, and I tried to make her body do those waves, and she was like, "What are you asking me to do?"
Yeah, it was different. It was different. But because of Clarice, I actually enjoy, bachata. When you put those songs on your post, sometimes I go find them and I listen to them, on my spare time, or just and do some moves. So it's really fun.
Yes, yes. And I
Yeah.
know that dancer's in there because she can sing. Oshone can sing like Beyonce.
Oh gosh. Getting there, getting there, getting there. All right, so let's transition into a little bit more about like your coaching. And I mean, I've known you for 11 years. I honestly stopped counting after 10. Anything I stopped counting after 10, because I mean, like, we're already done a decade, so
Yes, we're over a decade of knowing each other through so many
yeah,
capacities. Yeah.
exactly. 11 years ago, when you were training at the gym, and I mean, before I met you, then you were already, coaching and training. So how long have you been coaching in fitness, for health and fitness?
So I started in 2012. So at 13 years. 13 years.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
13 years. It's been a long time. Time just flies like this. Like, you're like, really? You know? And when you're 10, like you said, I was already like, oh, this is 10 years now. And 11, 12, 13. And, by the year end, probably it'll be, soon 14 years. So,
Yeah, and so that's 13 years of knowledge right there, of experience, right? It's not just textbook stuff that things that she reads in like a paper, but it's things that have actually been applied and tested. And so, yeah, that's
real
13 years of experience.
real in the gym experience of training people, right? This is really
Yeah.
important. I always say when online coach is important in terms of we can reach more women, reach the world. I mean, I think we trained somebody, wasn't it? I trained somebody in Australia. Yeah, I trained two from
Yeah,
Australia.
Australia. Yeah.
So it's like amazing. We can reach so many people, but if you have to have in-person experience because otherwise you have no idea where the body is, how it moves, and to talk about some of those things, right? So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's super amazing. And so, how did your own fitness journey begin? If yeah, you can summarize that, because again, I know it's been a while, but if you can summarize that, how did your own fitness journey begin?
Yeah. This is actually a really cool story, and I think a lot of people would actually enjoy learning this, right? So, most of you, I don't know if you know, I actually used to be an elementary school teacher. I taught 6 years of elementary school. I love kids. Like even now, like if there's a child, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I love them. I would get on the floor and play with them. One of my favorite moves to do with kids is chest press them because it's a workout at the same time, chest
Yeah,
press little kids. But I was a teacher for 6 years. And in those 6 years, I've always loved dance. And I was starting to train harder and harder in competitive ballroom Latin dancing. And I was in that 6 years planning to eventually go train potentially professionally or semi professionally in the Latin ballroom world. Debbie actually knows. She knew me back in the studio. And I was actually wanting to get ready to go to Italy. I flew to Italy to try out with different partners, and I was supposed to fly to Italy to live there for at least a year to train. And so I decided to leave the teaching profession to pursue that dream and goal. It's a very long story, so we're going to cut it short, but it ended up that the school that offered me the job in Italy, which was the job while I trained at the studio, right? So we all need income, backed out of their contract with me at last minute. And so I had already left Calgary. I had packed all my bags, luggages were there, and I was getting ready to fly, you know? And when they backed out last minute, I actually didn't have anything to go to. I had left my Calgary teaching job. I had, depended on the income of the, Italian school. And so I was left jobless. And so that I would say that was definitely one of the lowest points of my life, because leaving a professional teaching career was one, but also my dream of wanting to go into the professional dance realm just felt like it was stripped away from me, And so I actually had a month where I was trying to recoup and figure out and what do I want to do. My mom kept saying, go back and apply to the Edmonton Public School board, because I was back in Edmonton. But I was like, I didn't want to go back to teaching. I love the children, but the teaching was so much burnout. Those of you who know teachers, say thank you to the teachers, to your kids, your grandkids, teachers. We put so many hours, and we are there's not enough help, And so I didn't end up going back. So I actually was working out at the gym often, right? That's what you do when you have a lot of time. I know that. When you have a lot of time, you're like, I'm going to go to the gym. So I was actually working out quite a bit, thinking what I should do. And then I saw a trainer training a client while I was on the treadmill or stairs or whatnot. And I kept thinking, I've always liked fitness. I've always loved movement, right? Like, what would it look like to be a trainer? And so I went to the office there and asked the manager, and then she directed me with like, okay, you can get certified with these courses. If you are willing to go do these courses, we'll start giving you a job here. So I was like, oh, sweet, I need a job, and I like fitness, and I can be working out and training all the time, And so I was like, okay, so that's how I kind of started into becoming a trainer, into the fitness field. And in studying to become a trainer, I actually met my competitive bodybuilding coach in that realm, who coached trainers. And he was a bodybuilder, and he right away asked me, like, you're a competitor of some sort. And I was like, yes, I'm a dance competitor. And he saw that, and he said, like, well, you should put your talent to fitness. And I was like, what's fitness? And he was like, that's the category in bodybuilding where you dance around, do gymnastic moves, and you pose. And I was like, oh, I get to dance? And that honestly was one of my reasons. Was I was like, well, I couldn't dance in Italy now. I couldn't go. I didn't have a dance partner at that time. So I was like, yes, if I can work on my fitness, I can continue to like dance and learn gymnastic. Yeah, this will be great. It will keep me really in shape to go back to dancing in the future. So I started competing in the bodybuilding field and fitness, as you know, ended up doing that 3 years, almost 3 years. And I would say that was my most foundational building years of learning how to be an amazing trainer, because I wasn't just a trainer that was taught like in a course and then I went and just taught people in the gym. I was putting myself through the training, through the discipline, through learning every angle and part of my body, how to a progressive overload, how I got pushed outside of my comfort zone. And yes, I did not like my coach for some times too. Well, Shona didn't like me for sometimes when I pushed her in those early days, but my coach also pushed me. When I first competition, there was one point in there where I told him when I arrived at my lesson with him, I said, I don't think I can do it. And it was one of those things because I had to learn all these skills as a fitness competitor, one-arm push-ups, V-sits, L holds. These were things I never grew up. I'm not a gymnast. Wow. I was learning and training in the gymnastic center. I was working on backflips, like things I've never done until I was older. So that you can imagine how much harder this was. And I was like, I just felt, we all go through that low moment. I'm like, I don't think I can step on stage because I was afraid I would fall on my face and not complete these tricks. And I remember he was like, Clarice, he's like, this is not the Clarice I know. Why are you afraid to fail? And I was like, what? Like, he totally called me out. And I remember I was so mad at him leaving that session. But I was like called out. I was like, no, I'm better than this. I can go do this, And I remember that was a really critical juncture for me to push past my fear, to push past what I thought was my limit and to go and compete. And that was the start of that first show. And then it became a momentum. And then I felt more and more confident in myself. And and then obviously coached for 8 years in the gym, met you, coached multiple competitors, and then eventually obviously built this online fitness space.
Yeah.
So
Wow, that's amazing. I definitely heard some things that I haven't heard before. And so for those of you watching, if you learned something new or something stood out to you from, what Clarice just shared, I know a couple of things stood out to me and some of the things that you guys could probably relate to as well, to meaning like, you know, you've probably seen those pictures of her, the one arm push up. I just thought, she's a dancer, she's flexible. I didn't know that was a skill that she actually had to learn for her competition. Because if she had told me to do that and told me, yes, you can do it, I would have said, yeah, no, I've never done this before.
yes, and I need to add this. When I first started training in the gyms, the beginning of what I told you and the journey of becoming a trainer, I could do a push up, but barely, like kind of like a full push up from the toes. Bow, most people can do a quarter down or halfway down, but I found it very hard. So the women who are
Mhm.
listening, and you're doing it from the toes, you're like, why do I feel so weak? I
Yeah.
started there. I was a dancer. It didn't work my upper body. And
Mhm.
I started from having to struggle to get even quarter to halfway down on my toes, from my toes, to eventually working up to one arm push-ups, right?
Yeah.
So anything is possible for the women that are listening.
Yeah, no, I'm totally inspired by that. And if you're inspired by that, drop a comment below. And yeah, you can, like I said, if anything resonated with you from her story, and you relate the moments where you felt like you couldn't do something, you can just put like I relate or like, inspired below. And so another thing that really stood out to me from what you just shared is, you are a product of having a great coach, and I definitely experienced that in my coaching with you. Like you said, you just didn't read the book and then show up and just try to be so textbook about everything.
Mhm.
And I am now a product of also a great coach, and so it's kind of really cool how that passes down the line, and it
Yes,
really set that foundation for me as well too, on again like building muscles and like just coaching even like our FFF ladies right now, or even some of the BioRevive ladies right now. And
yes,
so there's just so much value when you have a great coach. And I'm
yes.
sure for some of you who have been coached by Clarice as well too, you've built been able to build a good foundation when it comes to maybe understanding your nutrition or understanding how to right proper technique and form. And so there's so much value in
Hmm.
that. And knowledge from her coach combined with her knowledge now is what's being passed down to, you ladies. And I mean, I just think that's like amazing. I think that really makes you stand out is because
Hmm.
you've been at this for a long time, right? And now fitness is kind of like, I don't say like a trendy thing, but there's a lot of coaches out there
Yes.
that maybe just started 2 years ago, 3 years ago when COVID happened, but you've been at this for a really long time. And I think that is just so phenomenal and just really wanted to highlight that. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I think that I just want to go back to your point about coaches. Like when you have a great coach or mentor in your life, it
Hmm.
is an exponential effect, because when you impact someone else and then they go on to impact other people, and it is truly something I love, because my life has been changed by so many great coaches and mentors,
Yeah.
and now passing it on to you, Oshone, and Debbie herself being a client of mine so long, and she's just the best fierce cheerleader angel. She passes on that love to other people, so it's really amazing.
Yeah, no, that is really stands out. And thanks for sharing that story. I learned a couple new things about you. So we
After
all start from
13 years,
somewhere.
you learn more.
Yeah, we all start from somewhere. So I hope that inspires you. And even if you're in your 60s right now, 50s, this if anything is possible, right? It might just look different for each person, but if you have a great coach, someone that believes in you and that can speak that belief in you, anything's possible. Because I've had those moments where I felt like, oh, I can do this. Are you crazy?
Okay, wait, gotta share, because it's nice for people to have the stories, because it will maybe relate to some things you might ask me like later about the fierce woman community. But Yes, I was a really tough trainer, and I pushed Oshone to her max limit. Also because she was with me the longest, I could progress her so much over almost 4 years. Yeah,
Mhm.
there were so many times she's like, I can't do it. Why are you making me do this? And and she had the, what is it, the stink eye towards me. and and I was like, I just smiled and said, you're gonna do it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just believed in you because I know that
Hmm.
you had to work through some of that pain to get stronger, you
Yeah.
know? I mean, you might see Oshone and see her being able to do pull-ups and, deadlift crazy things, but at the beginning she was hanging at the bottom.
Yeah.
She couldn't really deadlift that much, and she was really upset why I was wanting her to work harder at holding that bar, So you've had your progression too, Oshone.
Yeah.
Yes.
So to all the ladies listening, trust the process. Especially
Mm-hmm.
those clients, trust the process. Awesome. So let's move over to our next question here. And now kind of I guess getting to the meat of, you know, the what is behind, what you do, the Fierce Women community. And, when you first created the Fierce Women community, what was going through your mind in terms of the vision and mission? And I guess the second part would be like, has that evolved over the last 4 years?
Yeah, for sure. So, for those of you who may not know, I built the Fierce Woman community kind of near the beginning of, COVID, the pandemic. I remember, I mean, everybody was locked in, but I was sitting at my little apartment and my table, and I was like writing ideas down on my notebook of what I wanted, what did I want to represent, and getting online, like, what did I embody, right? So at that point, as many of you know, I trained quite a few competitors actually into competition. Even at that moment during COVID, I was training one competitor. You guys might know Natasha. She's crazy now. She's in Miss Olympia now. Crazy, amazing woman. I had trained competitors like Oshone, like Natasha, multiple people in my gym. And myself, I was just like very driven, right? Like I was like, I want to do pull-ups. I want to flip over bars. I want to max out my PRs. I want to do crazy things, flying across the floor push-ups. And I think for me at that moment, so I'm sharing at that moment, I was like, I want something that represents, people can push their limits, that they can defy what they think is possible, because I overcame so many things to make it possible for me, from not be able to do push-ups fully to doing multiple push-ups, to not being able to do a single pull-up to doing multiple pull-ups, to never thinking I could step on stage, to stepping into multiple shows.
Yeah.
And I just felt if I can bring that to people and help them believe in themselves and bring that grit, that it would help so many people rise and so many women rise. And honestly, in the gym, I trained women and guys, because I eventually went to a not just a women gym, but a guys gym. And so originally I was thinking like, just, I want to push people to be the best version of themselves. So in the beginning, I had a coach in the business world who was telling me, because I was trying to learn how do I build online, right? Everything I do, I always give credit back to my coaches and my mentors. And this particular coach knew I did this stuff, saw my pictures, and he's like, yeah, you're pretty crazy, And he gave me an idea. He's like, you should just, you should create a group that's called, and I'm not swearing here, I'm just saying the word, okay? He's like, you should create a group that's called the Badass Women Group. And I was like, oh, Badass Women Group. And I was like, that's good. But I was like, I don't know if people would like to be called a badass. Because he was like, you do badass stuff. And I'm like, I know, but I don't know. I don't feel like, I don't resonate with that
Yeah.
word. So after I left that meeting, I went back home, or I was in my apartment, and I was like, what can I do that kind of embodies the same spirit, like of just like, just can do tough things, have grit, have determination, overcome the things you once thought it was impossible. And then I went through a lot of different words, but eventually I was like, the eye of the tiger, like the
Mm.
eye of the tiger, fierce. And I was
Yeah.
like, yes, you know, if we can bring the eye of the tiger, the fierceness, the like, you get knocked down, you keep standing back up. Doesn't matter what life throws at you, you keep standing back up. You never give up, because you never can beat someone who never gives up, right? And I was like, yes, this is like the philosophy I want to bring to the online coaching space. And so that's how I started with kind of that fierce women concept, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I wanted a tagline, and I thought, like, hey, what do I want the vision of the community or the group? I didn't really know it was going to become a huge community. I just knew I wanted to build something online. But I was like, well, one, I want to help people build really strong bodies. You know, I want to help them sculpt those nice muscles. But it was like more than that. Like, I know, Shoni, you always hear me say this to you throughout your competition shows, but I was like, I don't want to just teach women to build beautiful muscles. That's a huge part. We're all
Yeah.
motivated by the aesthetic, but I want you to actually be
Really be
strong,
strong.
right? This is something I always said to you, Oshone, because
Yeah.
Oshone is gifted with beautiful shoulders, like kick butt shoulders. Like, she came to me already like wow, you know, we had to develop her back, her glutes, her legs, but she already looked really good in her shoulders. But at that time, she wasn't lifting that much. She was only pushing, I think, 15 pounds in each hand. And she was, I think one point you were mad at me when you were lifting. I made you push more weight. And I said, no, Shone, I don't want you to just look good. I
Yeah.
want you to be actually strong. I want you to be actually capable of doing hard things, like a pull-up, like doing crazy deadlifts and everything. And so I was like, what would represent that? So I thought, sculpting powerful bodies, meaning it's more than just aesthetic. And then, as well, as I mentioned, I'm such a big proponent of mindset, of, you know,
Yeah.
getting to stage multiple times. As a competitor, you know how hard it is mentally, Oshona, you know
Mhm.
how difficult it is. And I knew that I wanted something to represent beyond just the physical. And so that's why I said, champion mindsets. And that's why it's a fierce women community, sculpting powerful bodies and champion mindsets. So that is the start.
No, that's amazing. I think it really, just hearing you speak, it was, I don't want to use a word like motivating, but I could feel your passion and your energy and your fire. If you felt that passion and fire and energy, put some fire emojis below, please. And I was just writing here, you know, you are the product of the coach that you have. And even when you were sharing your, you know, beginning, sharing the story there, I really aligned with a lot of things that you mentioned in terms of wanting to push past your limits or just defy what you think is possible. Those things really, well, I embody some of those, most of those things now today too. And it's how I
Yes.
think too, because it's more than just a physical for us, you know, it's really the mindset and the mental. And I think that's
Yes.
something very special that you bring to your coaching. And from day one, since I met you, you were not only training me physically, but also mentally too. And that's why I say it's always mental first and then, like, you know, physical. And for those of you sometimes who struggle with, you know, I want to say like motivation, or you feel like, you know, you can't get yourself to do things sometimes, maybe because, again, maybe motivation is low or whatever the case is, having someone in your corner that, again, has that like belief and that can, you know, speak, so long you open yourself up to it, right? You have to be, it's a two-way street. You have to be willing to receive and let yourself go there. Again, you
Mhm.
know, anything is possible, right? So
I,
that's,
I
yeah.
think maybe I can add to that, because a lot of clients, obviously many hundreds of women I've coached, just remember this: when a coach coaches you, you're not always going to like it. You
Mhm.
will struggle. You will be like, wow, it's harder than I thought. Wow, her moves are tough. Wow, what I'm learning is not easy. But I hope you know that that is why you have a coach. Your
Yeah.
coach, number one, doesn't tell you what you want to hear, they tell you what you need to hear. Someone who really cares about you. And number two, a good coach pulls you from the level you're at and pulls you to a higher level that you have never reached before. And that is why you have a coach. Because like you were saying, Oshone, like there's moments you didn't like me, and there was moments I didn't like my coach, especially when he told me to eat a lot more food. I was like, what? No, I'm gonna gain weight. Like, and of course he was a guy trainer, and so he was just like, well, are you gonna believe me or not? Like it was like he was more harsh, right? Like obviously I
Mhm.
will speak like that too to my clients, but like he was like, and I was like, well, I'm gonna gain weight. It just did not make sense to me when he said eat more food. I was like, eat more food? I'm a dancer. I always try to eat less food. What are you talking about? And so, anyways, just to share with people, like everything you guys go through, you question and say, why, Clarice? I went through that because I was coached, right? So,
Yeah. And I just wanted to add something to that is the way that you coach, and I heard this someone before, you treat, sometimes we might see ourselves as a 5 or a 6, but you want a coach that sees you as a 10, meaning they're going to treat you as a 10. They see
exactly.
your potential, and they treat you that way. And if you recognize that, that is actually something that is very unique, because I mean, it means someone believes in you more than more than they see you for more than what you are just at this moment. And so that, I think that's very, that's awesome. And of course, I'm a product of that too. Yeah, so I'm speaking from experience, firsthand experience in that process. And so, you said you wanted to that spirit of fierceness. And we know the fierce women community right now has sort of evolved in what it looks like now over this last 4 years. And so if you can share a little bit, how that has evolved from where I started to, what it is now and what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's actually a really good question because, like you were, or like we were just talking about before. Originally, my concept of the fierce woman community came from my highly competitive background, right? That was like fierce training competitors, like hard workouts, push past the pain, and there's still that part of me, trust me, but it definitely has evolved because when I started building the Fierce Woman community, for whatever reason, maybe I believe there's a higher power, God. I believe that every woman, and I know you know this, Oshone, who came in were like 40, 50, 60s and more in the older range.
Yeah.
And at first I was confused because I was like, no, I was like competitors would be like these young people, like 20, 30-year-olds. But it was like 50s, 60s, a lot of 50-year-olds, a lot of maybe late 40s. And it was like kind of women in their midlife. And I was like, okay, well, like, of course, I want to help everybody. So I started, coaching them, and I started realizing that the fierce that I thought at first to be just like physical and the push, a competitor, like a hard sculpted warrior, like was not going to be necessarily applying to women in that context in the same way. And what I started to realize was that, for these women, fierce meant something different. Of course, so a lot of them still potentially want to compete, but fierce was about pushing past their fear of like, of what's happening to my body. I don't know what's going on in midlife. Like, it's changing rapidly. I'm gaining weight. I don't know like what to do, and feeling lost in their midlife.
Mhm.
And obviously as a coach, as you know, Shone, we have the privilege of hearing these women's stories. And we hear their struggles, we hear their tears, we hear them on the calls, we hear people crying on a call like Debbie, that's why she's been with me so long, crying on a call, feeling absolutely miserable, absolutely like, I just feel like crap, right? Like I feel like
Yeah.
I don't like my body anymore. I don't know, I have a belly now, I've gained 30 pounds. And through my coaching of these women, I started realizing like, okay, it's not just about teaching people to become competitors and go crazy high athletic ability, although I still had that part of me which I can bring that skill set to help these ladies become better. But I started to realize there was a really big need. And 5 years ago, the menopausal industry was not so big, okay? It's just blown up these past 2 years. I started realizing like, there's a need here. People like these women in midlife are lost. They don't know what to do. They think they have to restrict their eating. They think that they have to overwork in the gym. They think
Mhm.
they have to go on these fad diets and
Yeah.
stop eating this stuff like keto or something. And I started being like, okay, there's a gap. And as you know, Shanae, for as long as you've been with me and through other mentoring kind of experiences, one of my greatest hopes in my life is to create impact in this world,
Yeah.
whatever way it looks like. That's why my company actually is called Impact Training, because I want to create the change and impact in women's lives or in the world as a whole in general. But when this started happening, we had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women enter my community. And I was like, I can't keep up. And that's why I asked Oshone to come in to help, because I was like, I don't understand. There's so many women who want help in midlife and they're struggling like crazy. And I started to realize, well, I can't control this. Like, maybe this is what I'm meant to do. This is what I'm called to do, is help these women who need someone who is compassionate and understand and willing to listen to them and can help them. And so for me, I started, changing from a really crazy competitor coach to like more of a lifestyle coach and helping women in their midlife learn to eat better, learn to balance their hormones, learn to love themselves again, learn to work on their mindset, because so many of them started spiraling down that negative loop that they are too old, that they can't do it, it's too late. And I started realizing like, okay, like I can make an impact in this space. And so there I went and started coaching more and more. And through my knowledge in fitness and bodybuilding and nutrition, I was able to help these women. And obviously over 5 years, I started to understand like, what are their struggles, what are the protocols, and a lot of my own research study with hormones and gut health. I started realizing like, oh my gosh, like these women can change this naturally. They don't need all of this medication and all of this stuff. And I guess the vision has changed and the core is still the same. I want to help women become their fiercest, fittest selves. I want them to defy their own limits, to do what they thought was impossible, to be proud of themselves, to love themselves again. But it's just, I've changed the context a little bit to fit women that I coach who are in midlife, who, can't necessarily do a full push-up yet, but we can coach them to get to eventually doing a full push-up and be super proud. I have multiple clients right now working on pull-ups, and I know they're going to achieve it because that's one of their long-term goals, is to do pull-ups. So it's still the same undergirding, just it's changed in context, because for whatever reason, God said, you are going to help these women in their midlife. So that's basically what happened.
And I think this is just my own thoughts anyways, is why you're that person to really help this women and guide them through, as you mentioned compassion. And a lot of, I've talked to a lot of women on our, 10-minute calls, and, hear things where maybe like a medical professional tells them, or it's just, that's just the way it is. Your aging is just your hormones, you can't do anything about it. Or they have an experience with a trainer or a coach, maybe a male trainer that doesn't really understand hormones and doesn't have that compassion, and just tells them like, maybe you're being lazy or something, or you're not working hard enough, right? But you really bring that compassion, in terms of creating that space where women can feel seen, heard, safe. Because I think a lot of women, in the confusion of women over 40, in the confusion of what's going on in my body, they need that to be able to have the time and the safety to be able to figure that out. So I think that's something special, and why for whatever reason it was what you were, was kind of what kind of came into fruition with everything for you there.
Yeah. And also something I thought about a lot is, I was a teacher and I taught little kids, like kindergarten and grade 1, and I love the little kids. I'd be on the ground crawling with them, playing dance games with them. I love that. And I thought, well, why all of a sudden it's like I'm working with the other end of the spectrum, But then I thought about it and I was like, actually, this other end of the spectrum also needs a lot of love and compassion. They're not in their primes, in their 20 and 30. Some of them are 60, 65, 70, like Phil is 75. And they need someone who like is compassionate and can teach them and can teach them what's happening in their body. They need the education. It's not just like go to gym, work hard, which has a season for sure. I was that coach a little bit too, but for the 20, 30 year olds, it works really well. But for older women, they need, or seasoned, we call it a seasoned woman, they need like a coach, teacher who can teach them what's happening in their body and who has the compassion for their season of life. And so I feel like, it was meant to happen. So
Yeah. And for those of you listening, and we just talked about women in their midlife, women in, experiencing those changes in their bodies. And so again, this is a safe space. What are some of those fears that you maybe had as you started to notice things were changing for you? Or even know what sort of changes did you start to notice? Was it the belly fat? Was it, the brain fog? And what did you notice for you as you started to shift more into midlife or even experience menopause, as most people don't probably experience it till, some people till their 50s or, around that time period. So I would love for you to share that in the comments below. So that's super awesome. You've grown, the Fierce Women community now has grown to, what we have on Facebook has grown to a community of 19,000 women. I mean, 19,000 women, and especially even within the first 3 years, I think we were over 10,000 or
yes,
even, yeah.
yes, about 10,000. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think first 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's grown, I don't want to say like not really fast, but it's definitely grown more than, like you said, you envision. And what has been the most rewarding part of seeing the community grow again from it started from like zero, one,
Zero.
two.
When the group first started, I asked 4 of my friends to join and said, please support. And it was 4 people. Then it was 6, then it was 9, then it was 12. So it was pretty crazy. And actually, really, the community did it by myself from 0 to about 300-ish. And then Oshone came on board around 400. So I was telling Oshone that she hasn't seen it at ground zero, but the rebuilding of our new community, I said, it's okay. It's going to start and look like it's only, 20 people or 30 people, but I know it's possible because we
Yeah.
built it from 0 all the way to 19,000, right? So the most rewarding thing, honestly, for me is seeing that there is this community space for women to support each other, to truly cheer each other on, because the world out there is not always like that. It's often maybe competition, or it's like not supporting each other, or sometimes women can be hard on each other. And I feel like what I loved the most was that the Fierce Women community, we could create a space where the women truly felt loved and felt like we supported each other. And it was a culture that was very, very crucial that I wanted there, because as you know, Oshone and Debbie, the people who've been in my company, one of my number one mission is to serve with love and to create a safe space where every woman is seen, heard, and loved, right? And I just believe that has been a core value of mine. I love Mother Teresa. I have so many of her quotes about love and do small things with great love, and the love them anyways kind of quotes. And I think for me, I just felt like I wanted to create the space, and through the years, momentum picks up, and the women coming in realize, okay, they can comment back and encourage each other. And I just love that type of growth, the environment that we've created and hope to continue to create in the new Fierce Women community. And so, yeah, so that's one. And actually the other thing too, of watching this growth is just seeing women break past their barriers, is seeing women like Tracy do what she's doing now. She could barely do a proper squat when she came to us. Now she's going into powerlifting, squats and deadlifts and everything. And just seeing the women push past what they thought was not possible and getting completely flat belly again, looking better than they were in their 20s. How many women have said that to me, that in their 60s they look better than they were in their 20s? And it's like, that is the other part that's super rewarding to see in the growth of a community.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely echo everything that you said too, in terms of, whenever we get that message back, or message from, ladies in the community that maybe they were not expecting a certain response from us, or just the support, right? The encouragement. And it's something It doesn't happen by accident for, just a few watching. It's something that Clarice has been very intentional about every year, every quarter, every, even in the daily too.
Every
It's
meeting, or no, every few meetings, Clarice says, "What is our mission?"
to serve with love. But yeah, so that is the number one mission, and that I hope you ladies feel that in the community, and of course the new community that I'll have Clarice share a little bit about here in a bit here. I was going to ask you what makes our community stand out from other communities in the fitness space, and you kind of mentioned in terms of like the mission, which is to serve with love. But I'm also curious, I want to hear from your own words too, is like what makes you, if it's anything different, stand out in the menopausal space? Because we said this again, lots of it's kind of blown up this past 2 years. So yeah, what would you say like makes you stand out in the menopausal space right now?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that out there, because this menopausal health thing is crazy now. It's the latest fad, of everybody's talking about it. Something like we were just talking about it the other day. That's why there's like
Yeah,
inside
even
laughter.
husbands too are on board
On
with it.
TikTok, you just open it and bam, there's this guy talking about understand your menopausal wife. And we're like, okay.
Yeah, courses on that.
I think, first of all, there are lots of great spaces out there. I'm glad that there is a lot of support now for women in midlife because previously there wasn't. And so I'm really happy that that is there. But I think that, what makes maybe me stand out in the menopausal space is not only like, I love researching and the science and the geeky part because I go super deep down to your DNA level and I want to teach you what's going on. Like, obviously I bring a lot of that like knowledge that one of my clients who said like, the stuff you teach, I have like, nobody has ever really gone into that type of detail. Like I love learning that from you. And I think that is partially because of my teacher background and my love for learning. So it's like my research, my love for learning, and my detail orientedness really makes breaking down the most complex things like hormones and interactions with your body to what's understandable and
Mhm.
digestible for my menopausal audience. And so that's definitely one thing. And I think the other thing is, honestly, I think my bodybuilding background, I think it makes it kind of unique because I'm not just teaching someone to survive menopause, and I'm
Mm.
not just teaching someone to like, okay, like, work with your menopausal body. Like there's a part of that, like reaching my highest potential, getting to my leanest, my fittest self, stepping on stage, working like an athlete, not only in fitness, but in dance, as Debbie knows, training 10 years in competitive dance, training every day at the dance studio, training, as Debbie knows, till our feet hurt, our everything hurts, till like you just keep going. I think that I bring a very unique perspective, and that's why it's Fierce Woman, because it's like I'm very compassionate and I want to help you, but I am also that coach who will push you to that next level because I have pushed myself to the next level with the help of coaches and mentor. I have done things that people have often hold themselves back in their life goals, their goals of competing on stage, or their goals of doing whatever they want. For me, as like, starting a business or, two businesses and pushing through multiple difficulties and failures to make it to where I am is that like mindset, that athlete mentality, that play injured, that you keep going. And I think that that is what makes it very interesting. Like I am soft but tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm soft, I'm compassionate, I love you, and love is my foundational principle. But I also want you to be better. I also want you to reach the next level. I also want you to not stay where you are because you are meant for greater things. You can reach your highest potential. And I want you to go to the end of your life always superseding the level you were before. Be 1% better every day. You are ever evolving. You don't stay static. This is what I want the woman to have, is actually like this fierce belief and mindset to
Mindset,
be the
yeah.
best that they can be. And that's what I think is very unique about the culture of the fierce woman and in the menopausal space. So
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And really like the third thing like you mentioned, or when we look at our, you always talk about the three-legged stool sometimes. We have the workouts, we have the nutrition, but then
Mhm.
that mindset piece is so like it's such an important, well, leg of the stool because
Yes, so
without it,
important.
yeah, it's not going to stand. And I think that's something that makes you stand out in the menopausal space because again, it's more than just, working out or just eating, but it's as in a lot of your coaching programs too, transformation, muscle accelerator, FFF, mindset is such a key part of that too, because we know it starts from like here.
Yes.
And yeah, it's such a very integral part. So I
And
really love that.
maybe I can add to it is like I think that because of my background, not only as a teacher, but as you know, I was in a mentorship space for over, 10 years, mentored by amazing mentors who are amazing. They changed my life. That I learned the value of holistic mentorship, that I learned the
Holistic,
value
yeah.
of looking at a person beyond just their accomplishments, which when I met my mentors, my life mentors, you know her, Christine, I was so driven and everything was about push, push, push. And I'm still very driven, but it was like one thing she taught me was to expand beyond. You are more than just a competitor. You are more than just a dancer. You are more than that. You have parts of you. You're a daughter, you're a sister, you're a visionary, she taught me to look beyond just one thing. And I think that, as told you and made a mention to a few clients, like if it wasn't for those mentors in my life, I don't think I would have built the Fierce Woman community to what it is,
Mhm.
because the vision and the heart behind the Fierce Woman community is the holistic wellness, is that I want the woman to be looked at holistically. I want them to know it isn't just about nutrition. It isn't just about workouts. Those are super important. But often the missing piece for a lot of people, whether it's woman or man, but for women particularly, is the mindset and the heart set. The mindset and the heart set is so important. If you don't work on this, you will always get stuck and you will
Mhm.
spiral over and over again. If you don't work on your heart, you will feel an emptiness. It doesn't matter if you
Mhm.
reach the highest of your goals, you will be empty if you don't work on your heart or your spirituality, like the holistic part of who you are. And I think this is the part that I bring to the space, is I want women to go past the nutrition and the workouts. Those are super important. And I'm going to push you. You're going to have a hard workout and I'm going to teach you macros. My own
Yeah.
clients are like, yeah, she's going to teach you macros. My own clients are laughing right now because yes, I will teach you that, but I will also teach you more than that.
I was gonna ask the audience watching, we talked about surviving, not wanting to survive through menopause, but you want to thrive, right? So if you want to thrive, we can put thrive below. If you feel like you're thriving, you'll put thrive below. If you, yeah, I want to identify with that, you can comment thrive below in the comments. But let's, shift gears to talking about this new Fierce Women home, Fierce Women community. And, although I wasn't there with the initial building of the Fierce Women community, but I've watched you build, lots of different programs. For example, like when we had the 14-day blockbuster, workshop, which we are start doing around next week. But I watched you, create that, just the thoughts and everything that, the extensive planning, the pages and pages of like notes and like research that you took into creating that, and thoughtfulness. For you, it's always how can you not just give a band-aid, but you want to, really teach people how to fish essentially, right?
Yes.
And so watch you create the 14-day blockbuster to bio revive and creating that whole system, and now creating, this new hub, new Fierce Women home and community, that is in circle, and just seeing the extensive planning and, just figuring out things like tech.
Yes, you have to be really good at tech, which Clarice is not, but oh my gosh, you learn. Whatever you put your mind to, you learn.
Yeah.
Every coding, every funnel, everything, like oh my gosh, crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I've watched you just always, not all, well, I'd say always, but to be the person who, when there's a task ahead of you in terms of like, okay, like, well, what happened with Facebook, we had to like figure things out you have to figure things out, and you did just that, and now you've created this amazing community. And so share with us a little bit about this new Fierce Women Community Hub. You know, what are you most excited about it? What can we anticipate, look forward to in this new hub?
Yes, yes. So well, I guess like, for those who don't know, obviously the 19,000 community on Facebook that we built suddenly got shut down in terms of my account. We really didn't have a whole lot of explanation other than we think you have violated some community rules, and you're like, but what? We don't know what. Like, imagine if you opened a restaurant and one day suddenly just somebody just came and said, sorry, you can't operate from your restaurant. So it was definitely very, very tough in that, like, wow, all of a sudden everything I built was gone. And for those of you who have known the community for a while, luckily we had some backup, but a lot of the stuff was completely deleted off. So 5 years of work, we had lost a lot of the 5 years of work. But when this first happened, I remember Debbie was like, what are we gonna do? And I was very calm and I said, most people will look at something and see a problem. But I said, as entrepreneurs and as leaders, we look at something and we see solutions. And I said, there's a solution to this and we are going to figure it out. And so we, obviously transitioned onto IG here, into TikTok, into other channels, but ultimately we didn't have a home for the Fierce Women community for 19,000 women anymore. So I had to think of, well, I need to rebuild something. I need to rebuild a hub where the women that we once created a safe space for them to love each other, to feel like home, to feel like they could support one another. All my teachings lived. I have to rebuild this. And so this is why eventually, through a lot of research, a lot of different things, I decided to rebuild the Fierce Women Community Hub in this new platform, right? Circle. And this new platform I'm very excited about because it actually is even better than the Facebook community, because it is meant to build communities, this type of platform, but it doesn't sit in the concept of social media, meaning it's not subject to algorithms. It's not subject to who can, like, for example, on Facebook, Instagram, if you don't have enough algorithm behind you, then you might post something, but only like four people see it, and so it really dampens your effort, because you're like, I want to help more people. I want more people to see my message. So when it's ruled by the algorithm, you don't get the full reach that you want. Whereas on a platform like the Circle community, and that becomes now the Fierce Woman community, it's whatever you post, people can see as long as they check the section. So if the ones who are already in, like the 60 something, 70 members in, as long as they check announcements, everything is there. They're not going to miss it. As long as they check free resources, they're going to see where the free resources is. It's not like, oh, I didn't see it. Where did it go? The algorithm took it away. So I'm really excited about the Circle community platform, because I think that it is more well organized, and women coming into the community will have an easier time to find what they need. They just go to the sidebar and then they go, oh, I need to watch the live that Clarice did in the Circle community. Go to the weekly live button. Perfect, right? Like, it's so perfectly organized. And so I'm excited because then women can find information easier, and they can find maybe topics more related to what they want. So this relates to the other thing I'm excited about, because in this new platform, it allows me to create different spaces, not just the free space, but like different spaces that maybe can help someone who wants to take their fitness further, but is not ready for a full coaching experience. And as you know, over the 19,000 women we've brought into the community, not everybody is ready to have a coach. Not everybody is ready to go into a full-fledged coaching program. And some people are, yes, they may want to just learn and glean off of the free material, and that's wonderful. But I always felt there was a gap between the free community and those who wanted guidance and coaching, in that there was like, some were the middle grounders,
Yeah.
they love the free things, but they kind of wanted more. They wanted a little bit more help, but yet they're not ready to fully go into the full coaching programs, whether season of life or financially. And what's really cool about Circle is that it allows me to tier things where, okay, like we have the free community, like all of this part. And the next thing is there's a small kit, like we have a Fierce Starter Kit, which is like 35 of our best, I think now it'll be 36 of our best resources all together. So that if somebody was just like, oh, I just need something like to look at and to study, they have something small. And I've always been asked, can you write a book? Can you write a book? And so it's like, okay, there's a little small something that somebody could just come in and be like, oh, I can grab this like pack of Fierce resources. I'm not ready for full coaching yet, but I can grab this pack of Fierce resources and learn from it, right? And then we have like another tier that is like the Fierce Woman Vault, which is the compilation of like, you know, all 5 years worth of coaching material lives I've done on every topic, like reducing inflammation, reducing belly fat, metabolism, body recomposition, you know, everything, mindset, everything.
Awesome, yeah.
And so it's like, again, people have asked me so many times, why do you not write a book? And of course I want to, but Clarice also wants to live a little bit and have some sleep at this point, you know, and so I will eventually at one point in my life, but, you know, I am able to compile like, you know, all the 5 years of resources and teachings of our video lives and maybe help that person who, again, is in the middle ground, who's like, I'm not ready for a full coach. I'm not ready for Clarice to coach me. She sounds fierce. I've had people say that to me. I'm not ready for her to coach me yet. I want to be in the middle. And so what I'm excited about is like this community gives this ability for people to serve them at their level. You know, if you want to have free materials, you can go to all the free sections, free resources, free lives, join our free challenges. But if you want a little bit more, like a little resource book, you can go purchase the small kit, right? I think it's like $29 or something. And then it's like, you know, or if you want to have the vault of all the 5 years teaching, you know, it's like $100 something. So it's more doable for people. And that was something that I know we talked a lot about, Oshone, is like, how do we serve the masses? How do we make this possible that we can still help that woman who is on Social Security, who is on disability, who can't actually pay for this? How can we still help them? And you know that I ran this around my brain a lot. I often spoke to the whole team about this and Debbie, like, how do we do this and still serve those who can't do all the coaching, but they still need more help than just the free community, right? And so this is what's so cool I like about Circle is that it allows this tier system that wherever you're at, whatever level of help you want, we can now serve you like this in this community. And that continues to fulfill my vision of wanting to impact more lives. And I'm so excited about that. So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. I'm in there and I see it's very, you know, user friendly and just provides more clarity overall. In the other community, we often got asked different questions like, where is this? Or like, you know, what are the programs or different things like that. So this really creates a lot more clarity for everyone that's in there.
People take action when there's more clarity.
Yeah, the spaces are just really, really awesome, very well organized. So I'm really excited about that.
And I was going to say, I mean, this is a soft launch in that, you know, obviously it took me months to build. I mean, this, you know, our Facebook community or my account kind of shut down about 2.5 months ago. And I know so many women was waiting, like Carrie, and so many people are like, I can't wait for your new community. And I was like, okay, you know, I was still traveling and I was like, I'm going to try, but it takes time to build, and I had to learn an entire new platform to build, and it takes so much time to organize things and figure out how to migrate the old community this way. But I explain it's a soft launch because we are still bringing in things. You're going to see us over this month continuing to upload and put things in that we had lost in that community. When you enter the community and you scroll down, you'll see how the entire Fierce system works. Just to explain it, right? It goes from the free, all the free lives, free resources, free trainings, free guidance, guidance, all of that stuff, and inspiration, our wall. Then we have like the small fierce starter kit. Then we have like the fierce vault, which are more like in between. And then we have like a smaller program, like our 21-day. And then we have our bio revive, and then our FFF group coaching program, transformation, and muscle accelerator. And so you will see how the whole fierce system is tiered. So it answers your question, just like Oshone says, of like, okay, like where does this go? Or okay, if I finish FFF, what would I do? Oh, I could go to the next tier. So people understand the progression of their fitness, of their health, of their nutrition. And the way it's set up, like I said, it's not completely ready, is when you click on the first wall of that program, it usually will now have a description of that program and what you will get and what will be in it. I'm still finalizing the last few tiers, but it's really cool because then people coming in is like, I want help with this or want help with this, and they can just go click on those, and now they'll understand what those programs offer. So it definitely offers a lot more clarity, like you said. Yeah, so
yeah, no, that's awesome. I love that. So how can members, we, like you said, you have like 60 plus members in there. How can they support this new growth and, help this group thrive?
yeah, I think the first thing I was thinking is what the heart of the Fierce Woman community, of what I wanted initially is, like I said, repeating what I said earlier, is I wanted a space where women could feel safe to share their struggles. Women in their midlife could share their struggles and feel safe, seen, heard, and loved. And so for me, I think the best thing that women can do is when they come into this community is to be that encourager, to encourage another woman's journey, to like their post, to comment, to encourage, because we don't have it enough in our world. We are a fast-paced world. Everything just like la la la, right? Like we scroll, and we often don't stop to comment. And this is something that I try really hard, even on my dance scene. Like most people just like, and love, but it's easy, the thumb tap. You know what takes more effort? When you stop and you actually comment. Because the moment you do that is you tell someone, I see you, I see you. And do you know how many women truly want to be seen? In my coaching experience of coaching, not only in the fitness space, but the life mentorship space, so many women feel like they don't matter. So many women feel like nobody cares. It's just a fast-paced world, and maybe people just want something out of them, or and you don't know their story. A lot of times women in their homes with their families or exes or husbands may not get the words of encouragement, the words of love, may not feel seen, and I think that to me is so important to give to the woman. And so that takes a community to do it. Of course, I try really hard, and my team knows we when we're on Facebook, I try to comment on everything or get my team to comment on everything. We want to build that kind of spirit of unity, of supporting the woman, but it takes a community to rise. And I encourage every woman, as you come in, not to just do it for yourself, but to be there to support another woman, to cheer them on, to hear a win and be like, yeah, that's amazing, and like love, and stop the scroll and actually comment. I know it takes 1 minute more, but it is worth it, because that person feels like someone cares. And we need more love, more kindness in this world. I know when I was teaching in the life mentorship side, Oshone, I always said, you are busy, but everyone's busy. And be the person who stops at the coffee shop and tells that person working there what a great job they're doing. Be the person that walks out of the coffee shop and compliments the person beside you and says, I love your jacket. Be the person who just steps out of your comfort zone, of your convenience, and helps someone else feel better, because you never know what they're struggling with. And in my experience of coaching so many women, and of not just the Fierce Woman community, but the life mentorship side, and the stories that I have heard as I sat across the coffee table from them, can bring me to tears. Because so many women have stories that just break your heart. Their traumas, their abuses when they were young, the things of losing maybe their loved ones. I have clients who've lost their daughters who have gone through abusive relationships. And I know there's a friend on here, he's a guy, but when I met him at the grocery store, he was in the lowest point of his life. And I chose to say hi. And I chose to actually help him. And it's a long story. And today he's one of the ones, you might see him comment a lot on my posts. And he always says, I will always support you because you supported me in my lowest time of my life. And he was a stranger. And he has come back around years later and he just thanks me because he's like, you didn't have to say hi to me. You didn't have to take time, but you did. And I always say, like, this is what I want the women coming to community is take time to encourage each other, not just during a challenge, not just when there's something in it for you, but because you truly want another person to rise. You truly want another woman to feel loved, heard, and that they are special, because every one of you are special, but we need to not keep it inside. We need to speak it. And I saw a quote that says, like, be that person that if you love something about them, say it to them. Don't just keep it behind your mouth. Like, say it to them. You love their hair, tell them. You think they're beautiful, tell them, you know? And our world can be so much more beautiful when we can have this type of philosophy. So
that was amazing, Clarice. I don't even have anything to add on to that because it was really just amazing. And I felt the passion, the heart behind all of that. Yeah, definitely we want every woman in the community to feel seen, heard, valued. You know, you don't have to be, anything. Doesn't matter where you're starting from too. You know, you're welcome there. You're welcome there. Yeah, so I really hope that each of you listening felt that message, and we can together, we can do this together and create this fierce women movement, fierce with love.
fierce with
um,
love. Absolutely. I love it.
okay, I guess two questions for you here before we wrap up here. So what is your message to women over 40 who are struggling with like belly fat, hormonal imbalance, an area that you've really established yourself in as an expert? And, I say it's almost like you've cracked the code when it comes to helping women reduce belly fat. And each time I see them, I'm still surprised, but it's like, so yeah, what is your
Wow, how does
message?
that belly become flat? That's amazing.
Yeah, I feel overjoyed. So
Yes,
what is your
yes.
message to women over 40 struggling with belly fat, hormonal
Yes. So
imbalance?
I think my message to women over 40 and 50, 60, 70s, or even 80s is that to believe that it is never too late, to believe in yourself, that it is possible to change, that you're not too old, you're not past your prime, that you, with the right knowledge, with the right systems, with the right coaching, with the right empowerment, you can change your body in natural ways. Okay, so this is one of my biggest message is that I want the women over 40 to try to stay away from quick fixes, band-aid solutions, to not just run to the doctor and get a medication for something. I want you to learn truly what it takes to eat healthy, truly what it takes to move your body, build actual muscles, and work on the mindset and heart set, like we said, to create your fiercest self. This is possible naturally. Of course, I'm not debunking or against medication. There's times when you need it. My dad has stage 4 cancer. He needs medication. I'm not against it, but I want to encourage, in a society that is just about quick clicks and fast solutions, I want to teach and encourage women to understand that you need to take time to learn how to invest in yourself, invest in your own health, learn how to, like I said, eat well, lift well, sleep well, take care of yourself. And that it is possible that you can change your body at any age. Phyllis is on here who said, amen, Clarice. She's 75 years old. And I truly, I love her. And I know she's going through a tough time right now because her husband's quite sick. But she cares about her health. She comes back, and at 73, when she was in her FFF program, I think I posted it in the community, but she really brought down her belly and she was lean and fit at 73. And so it's so cool. Like, I just want every woman over 40 to know It's never too late, and it is 100% possible to change your fitness and health with natural methods and to achieve your fiercest self in whatever that looks like for you. It could be competition, it could be doing your heaviest deadlift, it could be doing pull-ups, it could be becoming a trainer yourself. Whatever it is to like have that belief that you can change and become the fiercest self. And yes, you can lose that belly fat, because we get asked that a lot. You can lose that belly fat and you can build lean, fierce muscles at any age. So yes, that's my message.
Awesome. And I forgot to mention, for those of you that are on here watching, if you are not in the new community yet, comment circle and we'll send you the link to join essentially. And second plug is, if you are struggling with belly fat, or if you're still struggling with belly fat, you can comment belly fat below. We have lots of great resources to share, lots of great insights we can share with you. So yeah, you can comment belly fat below. And so the last thing here is, are there any new challenges? Well, of course we kind of know, but new challenges. Yeah, anything that you can kind of like tease out in terms of challenges and
Yeah, and new things. So I mean, this is, a soft announcement because we're working on it, but I will kind of, talk about it because I did already talk about it in the community, but I'll explain it a little bit more. So the circle community allows you to, like, obviously make it like a game, and you can earn points
yeah.
as you go through the levels in the community. And it's things that are very doable, like posting a post or encouraging another woman. You earn points. It's like a game. It's a game. It's called gamification. So it's like a game, and so women can actually earn points to go through different levels. And that these points that they're earning, we're still working out the system, but I want to eventually give prizes and like free swag, Fierce Woman swag, and discounts into programs. So I think it's really cool because it adds an extra layer of like motivation, right? Like, I'm earning points, or I'm doing this,
Yeah.
and yes, there's internal motivation, but everybody likes to play a game and everybody likes to win. At the end of the day, that's the truth. So it kind of keeps everybody motivated to want to, like, oh, if I participate in this, maybe I get these extra points. And it just creates a really fun game environment. And a part of that, because I mentioned Fierce Women Swag, is like, we are working on, well, we have a brand new FWC kind of logo and merchandise we're going to be starting to eventually launch. And so we're super excited about that, because I think that more women should wear things that says like fierce, but like in different ways. Like, one of my quotes that I put in the community is, she believed she could, so she did. I love that quote, and I would love it to be on a shirt or a notebook. And so we have something called the Wall of Fierceness. And that wall of fierceness, I'm actually going to be looking at as people upload different quotes, and eventually they may become inspiration ideas for things on the merchandise or other things that will be coming down to help women wear that fierce brand and actually, like, yeah, like, I am that fierce woman. And I'm just excited. It's still being developed, but I think it can be very cool to be on things like notebooks, bags, shirts, workout things, and yeah, so lots of cool things coming down the line on that. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, it just makes the circle community that much more exciting, and just give a whole different experience to each of you ladies. Sorry, go ahead.
well, and I was just gonna say, like, for the 14-day, like, we're also going to be actually looking at, like, who's going to be the most engaged, and just like that bikini challenge. I think Kamiko won, Chiquita won, and I forget
Jane, I
who
think was the other. Yeah.
Jane, yes, Jane
Yeah.
won, but like, we're gonna kind of, not exactly the same, but we are gonna look at who's gonna be the most engaged in the 14-day challenge, and potentially, like, give them more points eventually to earn more like swag stuff. So it's kind of cool, right? It just creates this, like, and so, I mean, also in terms of, like, you said what's coming down the line, we already said it, but the 14-day is being revised. So I think that I'm also excited that there's a new improved version coming, because I know I took a lot of the feedback that people gave me from the last number of rounds and trying to make it better. So I'm excited for creating an even more tailored challenge for everybody doing the 14 days. So yes, if you are not in the 14-day, put 14-day below, because you will be missing out on this amazing challenge that I'm putting lots of hours again into to remaking for you. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Those are all the questions I have for you today, Clarice. I don't know if there are any comments that you wanted to read before
yeah,
we
there's
shut
actually
down.
quite a lot. Yeah. So, and then Ruby says, be fierce. And Nicole, oh, Nicole. So there's a story of Nicole. Nicole and I met 10 years ago. And she's one of those things that we said, like talking to a stranger and being able to sit across a coffee table with them and just helping them learn more about themselves. And Nicole was a stranger before, but we got to know each other because I chose to say hi to her as a stranger. And Nicole is here and says, she's the Clarice is the most compassionate, kindest, most patient human I know. And in listening in, she still this day inspires me even 10 years later. And just so you guys have context, Nicole is not in the Fierce Woman community, and she isn't a fitness client I trained. She is somebody I met outside in the regular world and said hi to and became friends, because every friend you have today was a stranger before.
Mm-hmm.
And that if you have the courage to say hi, you never know where that connection takes you. And obviously Nicole found me again online here years later, and that's why she said 10 years later, and she's still here. And I appreciate your support, Nicole. And I know you have grown so much in the years that we haven't seen each other in over 10 years. So thank you so much. So yeah, and so Oshone, you said, like, is there any final words or just reading comments, I think? Yeah.
Yeah, so just reading the comments, just wanted to make sure that we acknowledge any comments that came in or any person that popped in there. And of course, if you have any final words, yeah, if you have any final words, if not, that's totally fine as well too.
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, uh, I think maybe for me, my hope is, regardless of whether, because everybody connects with different people, and I totally
Mm-hmm.
know that, right? And that's why there are different coaches. That's why there's everybody. There's various teachers, mentors. There's a reason, right? Because we all have different personalities, different kinds of strengths and weaknesses. And I think that for everyone listening, I think just for you, I hope you find an incredible coach and mentor in your life. It doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be me. But I will tell you that my life has been changed so much exponentially, because I had great coaches and mentors in my life who actually cared about me, who actually took time to know me, who actually like stuck with me through different times in my life. And like I said to you, you need to allow time for that relationship to develop. You can't expect sometimes, I'm gonna have a coach and boom, there's instant results. Or I'm gonna have a coach, it's gonna be life changing, but it's gonna be 1 month and I should have my results. I tell you, the greatest coaches and mentors I have had in my life was because, one, I understood the need to have a coach and mentor in my life, but two, I was willing to stick with them so they had the chance to work their magic in me, so that they had the chance to develop a relationship and get to know me. My fitness coach was 3 years. Yeah, my life mentor is over 11, 12 years. And a lot of times people think it'd be amazing to have a coach, but then they don't like it, let's say at first, when the first month it's super hard, or when the coach tells them something that is hard. Like maybe they're mirroring something, like maybe you need to work on this. Maybe this is a blind spot. Like my mentor Christina once said, maybe this is a blind spot for you. So sometimes it's not that you want a mentor because you want them just to make you feel better. You want a mentor and coach because you want to elevate to the next level. And so if I can encourage anyone, not just about the fitness community or anything, but truly about your life. Go find a good coach and mentor who can make an impact, who can actually pull you to a higher level of yourself, and you will be so grateful for that relationship in your life, even if it's just a season in your life, right? So yes, that's my final message.
Yeah, that's an amazing closeout message for sure. And thank you for your time, Clarice. And I thoroughly enjoyed, hearing your story, things that I didn't know before. And I hope those of you watching really come out of this, well, session here not only feeling inspired, but you take something out of it. And even, I know we're going to maybe close this out in a bit here, but if there's one thing that you're going to be taking away from this tonight, feel free to share it below. Identify that for yourself, and we would love to read that as well too. Hope to see all of you in the circle community.
Yes.
And with that, yeah, it's been a pleasure, Clarice.
And yes, like I said, we actually can capture some of the comments. So if you want to be a part of the circle community, put circle. I see lots of circle, and always feel free to reach out to myself or Oshone or Debbie, on any questions you have on health and fitness and midlife. If you want a free resource, we have a lot of free lives resources we can send you. I just want to end by sending love out to all of you. Like I said, it doesn't have to be, following me or being in a community or program. I just want everyone to know you are loved and you are seen and you are worthy. So that's my ending message to everyone. So thank you everyone for being here. Oshone, thank you for flipping the script, and yeah, you did an amazing job. So yes.
Awesome.
Thanks for tuning in to the Fierce and Fit Mentor podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit the follow button on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, or wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. If something in this episode resonated with you, please leave a review or share it with a friend who'd love it too. Your support means the world and helps us reach more amazing women like you. Until next time, stay fierce, stay fit, and let's keep building your most powerful self.